Hey guys, this is Tom from Numbers Game Lifestyle, and today we're going to be talking about why women lose interest in you over time. I've got a question from one of my subscribers wondering how you remain detached early on in the dating process with very attractive women. Okay, this is things that a lot of guys will struggle with. The women will quickly lose interest in them and they'll, never hear from them again. And it's usually with women that they find really attractive and that they're like, oh, I don't want to mess this up. Okay. We're going to go over, different timelines on when you lose the woman because this will depend on what your options are. Okay. If you lose a woman early on in the dating process, there could be a million reasons behind this that have nothing to do with you in particular. But yeah, sometimes it is your fault. Whereas the longer you see this woman, the more control you have in the overall relationship, how it plays out. And the majority of the time, the longer the relationship, the more likely it is that it is your fault that caused her to leave you. Okay, I'll go over this. So, what are these timelines that I'm talking about? Okay, let's get into that. Very early on in the dating process, usually from the first to the fifth date, and even the fifth date, that's pushing it. Even maybe like 1 to 4 dates. Like there's a million different reasons why a woman could lose interest in you that have nothing to do with you. Okay? Here are some of those reasons. The reasons that you have no control over the outcome of this. It's just luck of the draw. Okay? One of them, you were just a hookup to her, no boyfriend potential. This is going to happen to a lot of guys online that look like F-boys, that look like they'd be a good time in bed. If you're in shape, it looks like you know your way around a woman's body and, can get her, show her a good time in bed, essentially. Yes, you will be looked at as simply a hookup for a lot of women. Maybe they're in relationships with other men. They've got a stable boyfriend, but they're just looking for a guy to, give them a good time in bed. This is what you'll run into a lot of the times online when you look like a guy that can perform really well in bed. And guys at the bar will run into this as well. If you look like an F-boy, you're tall, you're muscular, you're confident, you take charge, you put your hands on women. Yes, a lot of the times women will look at you as the hookup guy. I'll hook up with that guy, even though I've got a boyfriend at home that I really like his security and I really like the way that, all the stuff he provides for me. I'm just looking for a good time tonight, and you will be that guy, okay? If you're not this guy, this will make no sense to you. This never happens to you. You're not the hookup guy, okay? This is a rare occurrences. I ran into this a lot online. Yeah, a lot of the times these women are already in relationships with some other guy and they're looking for a good time in bed. What else is completely out of your control? Didn't pass the looks threshold. This is rare. This is only going to happen to guys online that doctor their pictures too much and they go out with on the first date of the girl and the girl pretty much leaves within the first, 15 minutes. Yes, you didn't pass the looks threshold. You didn't look like your pictures. Or maybe this is what happened to me before. I dressed completely different than what my pictures portrayed me in my pictures. I dressed completely different and the date ended within 15 minutes. She's like, I got to get out of here because I didn't dress the same as I presented myself in the pictures. So yes, you didn't pass the looks threshold. The date will end very quickly, and then you'll know, okay, like this only happens online, but that's the problem. It's very rare, unless you're one of these guys that's really doctoring his pictures outside of the realm of like being it realistic. Then yes, you won't run into this problem very much. Next thing, this is a big one. Didn't pass the status lifestyle threshold. This is very big, okay? Not necessarily for very young women, but as women get older, the 25, as they're getting into their careers, 25 plus, they start looking more at a guy's financial stability, his financial future. And could this guy possibly raise a family in the future? Is he worth investing in long term? These are all things that women look at if they want to continue this long term. Okay, and if your job sucks, your car sucks, your house sucks, in terms of her living standards, her living expectations, yes, you will get dumped, you will get ghosted, you will get, she will leave and check out of the relationship within, the first or second date, as soon as she realizes, like, oh, okay, like this guy isn't on my level or the level that I expected him to be at. In which case, you will lose her. You will lose her, and it's because of your money/lifestyle, like not meeting her expectations, not meeting her threshold. Okay, so this is another thing to consider. Another big one. Took too long to make a move. Yes, I'm sure a ton of guys can relate to this. You went on 1 date, you went on 2 dates, maybe you went on 3 dates, and it's not leading towards the bedroom. Okay, maybe she was really into you the first date. She's like, man, like this guy is for me. Why can't he pick up the signals that I'm ready to sleep with him? Okay, and they will ghost you. You didn't make a move. You didn't put your hands on her. You didn't invite her home. You didn't make a move at home to escalate things. Yeah, she'll just be like, okay, this guy doesn't find me attractive, in which case I don't want to be around this guy. This guy's a kind of a jerk. Maybe he did find me attractive. I just wasn't attractive enough for him. Or maybe he's just a complete, wimp that's too afraid to make a move. I don't want to be with a guy like that. I want a guy that you can take charge and can make things happen, can see that I'm turned on by him, and can, proceed like a man should. Okay, this is why you will lose women early on in the dating process by trying to play it safe. Don't want to move too quickly. Okay, this is what'll happen. Another thing, your race/age was not acceptable. Okay, this is a case a lot of women will maybe hook up with a guy at a certain age or hook up with a guy of a certain race, but when it comes to long-term potential, they're not really, don't want to introduce them to their parents or their friends or anything like that. Okay, they don't have any kind of boyfriend potential. Completely out of your control. Okay, you can't do anything about this. Like, you're a white guy and you want to date some other race, and she prefers, her parents prefer a certain race. Yeah, chances are you will be screened out. You'll just be like, the hookup guy. You just get hooked up with one time, and then she's on to the next, because again, you didn't meet the like race/age that she had in mind of her perfect boyfriend. This is what can cause you to be left very early on in the dating process. Okay, last but certainly not least, got back together with the ex. This will happen a lot of times. A woman will hop online, just broke up with her boyfriend. Maybe she hooks up with a guy, goes on a few dates with a guy, and then she gets back with her ex. Okay, nothing you can do about this. Completely out of your control. She's already built up a ton of investment in this ex guy, a lot more investment than you, that just knows her from 1 or 2 dates. So obviously you can't compete with that. You just have to chalk it up as just the luck of the draw. Okay, like that's just what happens. Nothing you can do about that. No way to win her back. Who knows? It doesn't matter what they say, but that's a lot of the times what can happen. They just get back with their, the old flame. Okay, now that we covered, between the first and 5th date, things that are completely out of your control that will derail your entire relationship or derail your entire dating process, let's look at the things that are within your control that you do that cause women to doubt your value and essentially lose interest in you within the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th date.